What's up, YouTube? It's time for a retrospective album review. Today, November 15th, 2016, marks the 5th anniversary of Drake's sophomore album, Take Care, and I wanted to reflect on it a bit. In late 2016 now, we've gotten so used to Drake being this central figure in modern music and being really this cultural icon where his every move, musically or non-musically, makes waves. We're so used to his stature that it's crucial to contextualize Take Care. Because at the time, this was a record that was made by a rising artist with everything to prove. He had two hugely successful projects under his belt with the So Far Gone mixtape in 2009, which kind of pioneered that whole is it an album or is it a mixtape sales strategy when it got commercially re-released, and I guess the term now is commercial mixtape. And then the following year, he dropped his debut album, Thank Me Later, and that was massive. But he was still Lil Wayne's protege. He was still a newcomer. I mean, he was nominated for Best New Artist at the 2011 Grammys. So in the months leading up to Take Care, the sophomore slump speculations were very real. When you come out the gate pumping out smash single after smash single, people are forced to take notice. But things like longevity and staying power and individuality all come into question because how many countless artists have showed up, popped out a couple hit singles, and just disappeared. So Drake was still very much this up-and-comer who was vying for that torch that now elder statesmen like Jay-Z and Eminem and Lil Wayne were all looking to pass. And to me, Take Care is the seminal project that flipped that narrative. Take Care proved that A, Drake was here to stay, B, he could exhibit growth and development as an artist, and C, and probably most importantly, feelings in hip-hop were here to stay. Drake did this interview in 2013 for Nothing Was the Same, where he said that he makes music for driving late at night. And when I heard him say that, not only did I understand him a whole lot better as an artist, but I realized how spectacularly he met that goal on Take Care. This is the perfect record for longingly staring out the window on a late night car ride, and it's evident right off the bat with the first track, Over My Dead Body. The way those gentle piano chords fade in and join up with Chantel Kreviazik's reverb-drenched vocals, and the drums kind of just lightly tiptoe underneath, it all feels so nocturnal. And those ambient synths that drift in and out are like flashing city lights on either side of you as you're driving on the highway late at night. When I hear this song, for me at least, it creates this breathtaking visual. And lyrically on this song, Drake is intimately reflecting, as you tend to do on a late night car ride, reflecting on his sudden rise to fame, on his newfound confidence and power, and on his goals and aspirations moving forward. And the whole time, it just feels like you're sitting right next to him in the passenger seat as he kind of free associates. And as you progress through the first half of this track list, the subject matter shifts around a bit, and the production takes a few different turns, whether it's those 808 hi-hats and the trap type stuff in Headlines, or it's the EDM influence in Crew Love. But that whole cohesive vibe of being on this melancholic late night drive never really wavers. And it just so happens that the songs themselves are just this fucking murderer's row of hits. Like, Headlines, Crew Love, Take Care, and Marvin's Room is one 4-song sequence. It's fucking ridiculous. Not to mention my personal favorites, which are sleepers like Shot For Me, which is the ultimate anthem for leaving an ex behind in kind of a bitter and slightly patronizing way, or Underground Kings, where Drake really sits back on the beat and does some of the best rapping of his career. Which leads me to one point about Take Care that I really want to drive home. You know, it's clear in 2016 that Drake is no longer interested in being the best rapper, per se. He's more just in the hit-making lane. I mean, just listen to Views. But on Take Care, he was still very much looking to earn his respect as an MC. And unfortunately, what gets lost on a lot of people is how subtly lyrical this album is. Drake uses a lot of clever and creative combinations of words here. Take these lines from the song Shot For Me, for instance. The men are jealous and the women all in competition. And now your friends telling you stories that you often misinterpret and taint all the images of your Mr. Perfect. So in the second bar, that 6-syllable phrase, often misinterpret, is actually part of two overlapping rhyme schemes here. Because the first 4 syllables, often missin, rhyme with competition in the previous bar, and then the last 4 syllables, misinterpret, of course rhyme with Mr. Perfect in the following bar. It's a really creative scheme that always stuck out to me. And the thing is that it's delivered so smoothly and so effortlessly that you almost don't notice it. But it was important to me to distinguish this album in that regard. You know, Drake's not shoving his technical ability down your throat like a Hobson or a Tech 9, but it's definitely subtly there on Take Care if you just choose to pick up on it. He's also got some exceptional flows on here. One of the most obvious examples, of course, being Hell Yeah Fucking Right, where he manages to pull off this speedy flow where it almost feels like he's like stumbling over himself and trying to catch up to the beat, but in reality he's in complete control. I mean, he definitely outflows his mentor Lil Wayne. So bottom line here is just don't sleep on the technicality and the detail of this album. But of course, the crowning achievement of this record is how Drake somehow manages to pull off being super vulnerable and insecure and being extraordinarily boisterous and confident at the same time. Before this, we had either Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon, or we had Lil Wayne, The Carter 3. We had either self-pitying 808s Kanye, or we had narcissistic, beautiful, dark, twisted fantasy Kanye. And this album did both. And I think Drake himself sums it up best on the song Lord Knows, where he says, I know that showing emotion don't ever mean I'm a pussy. And that's the duality of this album. Confessional and sensitive, but also confident and confrontational. And the other thing Take Care did remarkably well was prove the viability of Drake's whole half singer, half rapper shtick by balancing the two perfectly. For every croon, there's a hot bar. For every rhyme, there's a melody. Or in the case of the exceptional third verse in the song Marvin's Room, the two approaches morph into each other in literally the same sentence. And I know I kind of mentioned the first half of this LP being the stronger half, but the reality is that there are great tracks throughout. Because one of my absolute favorites is the song Look What You've Done, which pairs this gorgeous jazzy piano with these impeccably detailed autobiographical rhymes. It's a real moving song for me. And I have to shout out the song Doing It Wrong, not just for those wonderfully cheesy 80s synths that I love, but Drake makes this painfully accurate observation about millennial relationships with these lines. We live in a generation of not being in love and not being together, but we sure make it feel like we're together because we're scared to see each other with somebody else. I mean, I've lived that. And if great art does one thing, it's reflect your life back at you. And I'm not trying to say this is a perfect album by any means. There's tracks like The Real Her, which Andre 3000 has to kind of swoop in and save. There's Cameras, which is just a real sluggish track. And sometimes there's no getting away from how disgustingly self-absorbed Drake is. Like, everything is always all about him and whatever he's feeling, to the point where it almost feels like this was recorded in a room where he was just like surrounded by nothing but mirrors. But this doesn't have to be a perfect album to have the place in modern music that it does. It's a real special snapshot of that initial Drake craze, and I think out of all of his projects, it's the best representation of what has made him a pivotal hip-hop artist and a leader in the genre for the better part of 7 years now. So we'll see, but I like to think that this is a record that's really going to stand the test of time. As always, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, or shoot me a message so we can continue to talk music, and I will see you guys soon.